Shrouded in dense mist and isolated about 350 miles off the South American coast near Costa Rica, the uninhabited island of Cocos was long considered more myth than reality due to its remoteness and the thick, almost impenetrable jungle that cloaked its rugged terrain. This lush, tropical island, with its towering coconut palms, steep cliffs, and hidden coves, seemed like an enchanted realm lost to time and human civilization, a place where nature's raw beauty reigned supreme and the modern world appeared to hold no sway, untouched by development or human interference. In the 18th and early 19th centuries, during the golden age of piracy, this secluded island served as a secret refuge for pirates who sought to evade naval patrols and bury their ill-gotten gains. Pirate crews used the island's numerous caves, dense forests, and remote beaches as a clandestine hideout and burial site for stolen treasures. Gold coins, precious gems, jewelry, and rare artifacts cunningly concealed beneath the roots of coconut trees, buried in the sand, or stashed in deep cavernous hollows that were often treacherous. Locals and sailors whispered tales of Treasure Island, a place where the earth itself was rumored to be laden with unimaginable wealth, sparking the imaginations and ambitions of treasure hunters across the globe, from daring adventurers to desperate fortune seekers. These adventurers braved the island's harsh tropical conditions, sweltering heat, torrential rains, swarms of biting insects, and treacherous terrain covered with thorny plants and slippery rocks in relentless pursuit of the legendary loot. Some gave up after days of fruitless searching, overwhelmed by the island's hostile environment and the sheer difficulty of locating anything, while others became obsessed, dedicating years or even decades to unearthing its secrets, driven by dreams of fortune and glory that often bordered on obsession. Among the most notable was August Gissler, a German engineer whose life story epitomizes both passion and madness. Gissler's involvement with Cocos Island began in 1881, when, at the young age of 23, he defied his family's wishes and left his homeland to go to sea, seeking adventure and purpose beyond the confines of his upbringing in a small village. During a voyage to Honolulu, he befriended a Portuguese traveler named Manuel Cabal, who introduced him to a tattered diary passed down from his pirate grandfather. The diary, penned in the early 1800s, chronicled the exploits of the notorious pirate Don Pedro Benito, better known by his fearsome nickname, Bloody Sword Bonito. The diary was filled with gripping accounts of daring raids on merchant ships, fierce battles with naval forces, and the strategic concealment of immense treasures on Cocos Island, including detailed maps and coded entries that hinted at secret burial sites hidden in the island's most inaccessible locations. This vivid narrative captivated Gissler's imagination and ignited a lifelong obsession with the island's hidden riches. Driven by the hope of uncovering the pirate horde, Gissler settled on Cocos Island and spent the next 17 years living in solitude, enduring physical hardships, isolation, and the constant threat of tropical diseases such as malaria and yellow fever. His relentless quest was marked by meticulous digging, exploration of caves, construction of rudimentary shelters, and careful documentation of his findings, all fueled by an unwavering belief in the existence of the treasure and a deep yearning for discovery. Gissler's story is a testament to the enduring allure of mystery and adventure, illustrating how the dream of uncovering lost wealth can consume a person's life, blurring the lines between determination and madness, hope and despair. His decades-long pursuit transformed Cocos Island from a mere point on the map into a legendary symbol of pirate lore, and the human spirit's relentless quest for fortune and discovery, inspiring countless others to follow in his footsteps despite the island's many dangers and challenges. Reading one diary section made Gisler's heart race uncontrollably. It recounted in vivid detail the thrilling moment when the pirates seized a heavily laden Spanish galleon brimming with priceless treasure and frantically sought a secure secret hiding spot to stash their newfound wealth. The challenge was immense. Jewels and gold could never be hidden just anywhere without attracting unwanted attention. Curious onlookers would inevitably ask where such riches came from, and suspicion could quickly spiral into disaster, jeopardizing their entire operation. The treasure had to be concealed somewhere safe, discreet, and nearly impossible for others to discover. Unlike tobacco, which was a relatively common commodity that could be sold easily and discreetly, handling gold coins and precious gems demanded far greater caution and savvy. One particular passage captivated Gisler's imagination. Cabal's grandfather had painstakingly described, in meticulous detail, the precise spot where they planned to bury the treasure. Days after capturing the galleon, the lookout had spotted a remote island dominated by a massive, thunderous waterfall and towering, rugged mountains that loomed over the dense jungle below. 3 small boats were launched from the ship to ferry the treasure ashore, unloading their precious cargo near a secluded coconut grove by a gently flowing stream. Cabal's grandfather and the captain then followed the stream inland, carefully trekking about half a mile through dense foliage to a second, smaller grove where they ultimately concealed the loot. In an era without Swiss bank accounts, digital safes, or modern security systems, the treasure had to be hidden in a place that was both extremely difficult for others to find but still accessible to them through secret landmarks only they would recognize. Gisler read an astonishing revelation in the diary, the exact location of the buried treasure, described with unprecedented precision. "I dug a hole and piled the treasure inside," the entry began. "The captain took precise bearings but did not share them with anyone else. I, however, took bearings from the stream's mouth, aligning the site with round rock, about 600 feet west by south of the mountain marked. I am near the stream, and approximately 20 feet from the coconut grove." The document was truly unique, detailing not only the treasure's contents, gold coins, sparkling gems, rare artifacts, but also the exact burial spot, complete with landmarks, distances, and even the number of paces taken to reach it. Gisler realized with a thrill that he was reading a genuine pirate document containing precise, actionable directions to a hidden fortune. These were undoubtedly the most extraordinary pages he had ever seen, never before published or shown, making this discovery incredibly rare and valuable. Yet, one crucial piece of information was missing. The island's name, which was absolutely essential for planning the expedition. After enduring a long and arduous voyage of 169 days from London, Gisler's ship finally reached Honolulu, the bustling capital of Hawaii. Desperate to uncover the name of the island and to raise funds for the expedition, he found himself struggling to secure work amid the crowded docks and busy streets before eventually landing a job on a sprawling banana plantation. It was during his time working on this farm that he encountered Bartels in a dimly lit, smoky bar. A pivotal and fateful meeting that would prove essential to his quest for the hidden pirate treasure. While there, he learned of another intriguing connection to the buried treasure. Bartel's father-in-law, Old Mac Gisler, had known the feared pirate Benito Bonito personally, a name that sent shivers down the spines of many seafarers and treasure hunters alike due to Benito's ruthless reputation and legendary exploits across the Caribbean and Pacific waters. Old Mac had not only known Bonito, but had participated in a daring and dangerous naval engagement involving the capture of a Spanish galleon off the notoriously stormy and treacherous coast of Apo, a region infamous for sudden tempests and perilous reefs that claimed many ships over the centuries. After this bold encounter, Old Mac had sailed with a small crew to a remote island, which local legends and pirate lore identified as the very place where Benito had hidden his amassed treasure hoard, consisting of gold doubloons, rare gemstones, and silver artifacts plundered from countless raids on merchant vessels and colonial outposts. This revelation sparked Gisler's intense curiosity and deep fascination, leading him to wonder if this island was indeed the same Cocos Island referenced cryptically in the diary of Cabell's grandfather, a document that had long captivated treasure hunters with its enigmatic descriptions of hidden riches buried beneath dense jungle and rugged terrain, shrouded in mystery and protected by natural traps. Bartel, recognizing the importance of this link, entrusted Gisler with Old Mac's meticulously drawn chart, which detailed a perilous 1852 expedition where Old Mac had set out to locate Benito's treasure on an island named CCUS, but had been forced to turn back prematurely due to dwindling supplies, hostile weather conditions. The chart revealed an island with distinctive geographical features, 2 towering mountains flanking the central plains and several sheltered bays, precisely located at latitude 52°7. North and longitude 87° west, marked unmistakably with a treasure symbol that Old Mac had annotated in faded ink. Upon scrutinizing the map, Gisler realized this matched descriptions in the grandfather's diary, confirming the island as Cocos, a place steeped in pirate legend and whispered tales of lost fortunes. This island was notoriously known as the final resting place of a treasure trove, consisting of gold, rubies, and silver coins, often left unclaimed due to the grim fate that befell many pirates, hanging, shipwrecks, or vanishing into the sea's depths under mysterious circumstances. With a sense of urgency and caution, Bartel cautioned Gisler to keep any plans for an expedition secret, and to maintain a small, discreet party, as there were many rivals eager to seize the treasure and numerous dangers that threatened both fortune and life, including treacherous jungle terrain, poisonous creatures, and the risk of betrayal from within their own ranks. Nevertheless, Gisler managed to secure passage on a poorly manned and hastily fitted Swedish ship bound for Chile, intending to make a stop at QS. The sea voyage was grueling and fraught with peril. Violent storms battered the ship relentlessly, tossing it amid towering waves, while extended periods of calm seas left them becalmed and delayed for weeks, testing the endurance and resolve of the crew. When they finally sighted the rugged coastline of Cocos, the relief was short-lived as thick fog and shifting currents caused them to lose the island from view, forcing them to continue onward to Chile after 73 exhausting days at sea. Upon arrival in Chile, Gisler encountered a seasoned whaling captain who had first-hand experience with CCUs, having visited the island and participated in an 1875 American expedition that conducted excavations near its beach. Though Gisler's more detailed maps indicated that the true treasure lay hidden deeper inland, beyond the reach of earlier search. Over the ensuing months, Gisler tirelessly campaigned for support, raising funds from local merchants, dock workers, and sympathetic investors, eventually assembling a group eager and determined to embark on a perilous treasure hunt to the fabled Cocos Island, driven by the promise of untold riches, greatest pirate hoard. Driven by the promise of In late February 1889, 8 years after first hearing his grandfather's captivating tale of a secret cabal and hidden treasure on the enigmatic Cocos Island, Giza finally set foot on the isolated and mysterious island, driven by unwavering determination to pursue his lifelong dream of uncovering its ancient secrets and untold riches. Cocos Island, Lying approximately 550 kilometers off the coast of Costa Rica, is part of the volcanic archipelago that includes the famed Galapagos Islands, renowned worldwide for their dramatic geological formations and unique, often fragile ecosystems that have evolved in isolation over millennia, harboring species found nowhere else on Earth. The island itself rises abruptly from the depths of the Pacific Ocean, its peak reaching about 4 kilometers above sea level, perched atop a massive underwater mountain that forms a natural fortress, cloaked in layers of legend and mystery that have fascinated explorers, historians, and treasure hunters alike for centuries. Its surface is shrouded in a dense, misty jungle, perpetually blanketed by a moist canopy where waterfalls cascade down sheer granite cliffs into hidden pools below, creating an environment both breathtakingly beautiful and forbiddingly treacherous. The island's remoteness and harsh volcanic activity have prevented any permanent settlements from enduring, leaving it virtually untouched by modern civilization and posing a formidable challenge for any expedition team seeking to explore its secrets. For several weeks, Giza and a small, resolute team were the island's only inhabitants, establishing a rugged base camp on the jagged shoreline to serve as their home, command center, and sanctuary amid the wilderness. Giza meticulously studied the island's topography, focusing especially on two prominent mountains whose peaks seemed to pierce the sky like ancient sentinels guarding long-forgotten secrets buried deep within the earth. An old, weathered chart, passed down through generations of his family, depicted these mountains connected by intersecting lines forming a perfect square, a cryptic clue to the treasure's location. Alongside this imagery was a cryptic Spanish inscription, hinting at a treasure buried where the lines crossed, dating back to 1821, marked by a solitary coconut tree and compass bearings relative to the mountainous landmarks. Guided by this mysterious chart, Giza's team conducted exhaustive searches, uprooting trees, delving into shadowy caves, and digging intricate tunnels beneath the dense jungle floor. But their efforts yielded no tangible results. Over time, his men grew increasingly disillusioned and began to abandon the quest until only Giza and 3 steadfast companions remained. They persevered, digging beneath every palm tree within the designated area and systematically scouring each potential site, yet after 10 grueling months filled with hope and frustration, physically exhausted and emotionally drained, they reluctantly left the island in December 1889, setting course for Chile to regroup. Undeterred by this setback, Giza returned the following October with a better equipped and more experienced party. This expedition uncovered some intriguing 18th-century Spanish gold coins, hinting at historical activity on the island, but no definitive treasure trove. After months of relentless digging and exploration, success remained elusive, and the team was forced to retreat once more. Tormented by self-doubt and the weight of unfulfilled hopes, Giza came to a crucial realization. The locations indicated on the old chart did not correspond to the island's current geography, which had shifted dramatically over time due to ongoing volcanic activity and natural erosion. Following the original instructions blindly had led them astray, and he understood that a new, more nuanced strategy was essential, one that embraced flexibility, patience, and a deeper, more scientific understanding of the island's geological and historical evolution. After several additional failed expeditions, Giza acknowledged that quick, surface-level searches would never suffice. Instead, he committed to a comprehensive, sustained effort, combining detailed mapping, thorough scientific study, and a willingness to question long-held assumptions, recognizing that only through such a multifaceted approach could the enduring mysteries of Cocos Island ever hope to be solved. Gisler realized that expanding the search area beyond previously explored zones was crucial for finding the treasure. Understanding that the limited scope of earlier expeditions had likely overlooked the most promising locations. He meticulously planned to start digging at the most promising spot, carefully selected based on a combination of historical clues, local legends, and extensive research into the island's geography and past exploratory reports. His strategy involved initially focusing on a concentrated area to maximize the effectiveness of early digs, then gradually widening the search radius until ultimately covering the entire island. This comprehensive approach was designed to maximize his chances of uncovering the elusive treasure, which was rumored to be buried deep beneath the island's rugged and often treacherous terrain. This massive task was daunting as it involved excavating nearly all of the island's diverse and challenging landscape, ranging from dense jungles and volcanic rock formations to steep cliffs and hidden coves, and Gisler anticipated that this endeavor could easily take years or even decades to complete. To manage such a monumental undertaking, he firmly believed that living on the island full-time was essential, allowing him to dedicate his entire life and resources to the endeavor without interruption. Early in his efforts, he encountered costly logistical challenges, including transporting supplies, equipment, and personnel to the remote island, and quickly understood that continuous access and a stable supply chain were critical to sustaining long-term operations. Having thoroughly studied the island's terrain, climate, and fertile soil conditions, he saw potential not only for treasure hunting, but also for establishing sustainable agriculture and permanent settlement. He noted the abundant wildlife, which could provide a reliable source of food, and recognized that the island's volcanic soil, although initially appearing harsh, was actually rich in nutrients conducive to farming. This insight led him to propose the creation of a permanent agricultural community that would support settlers engaged in treasure hunting while simultaneously managing and cultivating the land to ensure ongoing sustenance. He boldly claimed that he could cultivate valuable crops such as tobacco and bananas at remarkable levels of productivity despite the island's volcanic nature, envisioning a self-sufficient colony that could thrive economically and socially. To realize this vision, Gisler petitioned the Costa Rican president to authorize the establishment of this colony, a request that was ultimately approved in 1891, granting him permission to settle 50 German families on the island with monthly supply deliveries to support their initial needs. Following this approval, Gisler embarked on extensive travels across Europe and America to raise funds and recruit settlers, appealing to the era's prevalent colonial ambitions and the adventurous spirit of potential investors and pioneers. Despite his efforts and the compelling narrative he presented, Gisler faced significant challenges in attracting the necessary financial backing and settlers. Described by the New York Times as a towering, charismatic figure with a striking and commanding appearance, qualities that might have inspired confidence, he nonetheless failed to persuade investors or settlers, many of whom doubted the project's feasibility and were wary of the considerable risks involved. This skepticism ultimately hindered the realization of Gisler's ambitious plans, leaving his vision unrealized despite the thorough preparation and passionate advocacy he invested in the project. Gisler's determined efforts to return to Cocos Island were fraught with numerous financial and logistical challenges, which made the task of raising sufficient funds and recruiting settlers immensely difficult. Understanding the importance of securing official support, he reached out to the Costa Rican government, providing a detailed explanation that the 1891 concession terms were overly restrictive and effectively rendered capital-raising efforts impossible. The president, recognizing the seriousness of the situation, requested that Gisler outline his specific needs to facilitate progress. In response, Gisler boldly demanded half of the island be granted to him as a personal gift, and the remaining half be subdivided into plots designated for incoming settlers. He emphasized the crucial importance of secure land titles to attract and retain colonists, explaining that without assured ownership, potential settlers would be reluctant to invest their labor and resources. After a period of bureaucratic delays and negotiation, these revised terms were finally approved, representing a significant breakthrough that paved the way for the island's development. Now married to Mary, who shared his vision and determination, Gisler returned to Europe, where he successfully garnered the interest of potential investors and settlers alike. He also personally secured financial support from family members and close friends, demonstrating his unwavering commitment to the project. On December 13, 1894, Gisler and Mary embarked on a journey from New York to Cocos Island, bringing with them essential supplies to jumpstart the colony. Their preparations extended beyond mere provisions. They also traveled to Panama to acquire tropical plants and livestock, aiming to establish sustainable food sources from the outset. German farming families soon arrived, rolling up their sleeves to build basic infrastructure, clear the dense jungle, and cultivate a variety of crops including sugarcane, bananas, vegetables, and coffee. These crops serve the dual purpose of providing sustenance for the settlers and generating income through trade. On November 11, 1897, in recognition of his tireless efforts and leadership, the Costa Rican government officially appointed Gisler as the governor of Cocos Island, lending governmental legitimacy to his endeavors. Alongside his administrative duties, Gisler pursued treasure hunting, uncovering valuable Spanish gold coins, which further fueled his belief that he had secured a prosperous legacy for his family. He even offered parcels of land to his relatives, hoping to establish a lasting familial foothold on the island. However, despite these successes, the colony faced serious challenges when the government boat, which had been supplying the island with vital necessities, ceased its visits. This sudden withdrawal caused severe shortages of food and other essentials, leading to hardship among the settlers. Tragically, one settler died amid these difficulties, and the island's soil, composed primarily of gray sand or clay, proved less fertile than anticipated, making farming a constant struggle. Determined to maintain the colony's survival, Gisler took matters into his own hands by constructing a boat to travel back to Costa Rica to procure supplies. He was accompanied by 4 men, but dishearteningly, 3 of them chose to abandon the colony, leaving behind their wives and betraying the communal spirit needed for success. Faced with this setback, Gisler made the pragmatic decision to focus his efforts on the settlers who demonstrated genuine commitment and resilience. He concluded that it was more practical and beneficial to let go of those unwilling to support the colony's long-term survival and shared vision, concentrating instead on fostering a strong, dedicated community that could weather the island's many hardships and ultimately thrive. Gisler's troubles worsened dramatically upon his return to the island, where he encountered an escalating crisis that threatened the very survival of the colony. The island was plagued by an overwhelming infestation of rats, which relentlessly attacked children, causing widespread distress and illness among the settlers. These rodents not only jeopardized the health of the inhabitants, but also devastated the settlers' already limited food supplies, consuming and contaminating precious stores of grain, dried meat, and other provisions. This dire situation forced the colonists to take desperate measures to protect their scant resources, including setting traps, erecting makeshift barriers, and organizing nightly patrols to fend off the invasive pests. The colonists had originally embarked on this venture with the hopeful ambition of becoming wealthy plantation owners, cultivating lucrative crops such as sugar and tobacco. However, they were quickly confronted by the harsh tropical climate, which sapped their physical strength and morale day after day. The oppressive heat often soared to unbearable levels, while torrential rains could flood their fragile settlements within hours. Swarms of mosquitoes and other insects carried diseases, further exacerbating the settlers' suffering, and the dense jungle surrounding the colony made daily life grueling and perilous. Clearing land for agriculture was backbreaking work, made all the more difficult by the primitive tools at their disposal. Axes, machetes, and shovels that were often dull, broken, or insufficient in number. To shelter themselves, the colonists built rudimentary homes from palm leaves and driftwood salvaged from the shore. But these structures offered little protection against the elements or the island's wildlife. They endured long hours of labor with scarce food, water, and medical supplies, many of which were contaminated or insufficient to meet basic needs. The isolation and relentless hardship bred deep resentment toward the unforgiving environment, and toward Giza's strict and often harsh authority. Tensions within the settlement grew palpable as frustration mounted. Known for his endurance and leadership skills, Giza responded by asserting absolute control over the colony. He declared himself governor, judge, and executioner, particularly after a violent insurrection erupted in response to his authoritarian rule. To maintain order, he enforced martial law, imposing severe punishments on any dissenters. However, supplies soon ran perilously low, compelling him to undertake a risky journey back to the mainland to procure provisions, a move that left the colony vulnerable in his absence. During this critical period, a British warship commanded by Admiral Palaka appeared and bombarded the settlement in a chaotic and misguided search for pirate treasure rumored to be hidden on the island. Despite urgent pleas from Giza's wife, Mary, who implored the admiral to cease the bombardment and respect the colony's sovereignty, the attack continued, causing extensive damage and terrifying the settlers. The fruitless search ended with the admiral's reprimand from his superiors, but the psychological and material damage inflicted was severe, devastating the colony's morale and prompting many settlers to abandon the island altogether. By 1902, only Giza and Mary remained steadfastly committed to the colony's survival. Giza's determination was unshaken as he pursued legendary pirate treasure, believing that its discovery could restore the colony's fortunes and transform their struggling outpost into a thriving and prosperous community, offering a glimmer of hope in an otherwise bleak and challenging existence. While searching the island's dense undergrowth, Gisler stumbled upon a weathered sign carved deeply into the gnarled bark of an ancient, towering tree that stood as a silent sentinel over the forgotten landscape. The inscription read simply but ominously, "The bird is gone." This cryptic message stirred a whirlwind of unsettling questions in his mind, each more troubling than the last. What exactly did it mean? Who had taken the time and effort to carve such a message, and for what purpose? Was it intended as a dire warning to keep others away, or perhaps a subtle clue left behind by a previous seeker of fortune? The term bird likely symbolized the elusive treasure he had been relentlessly pursuing, an emblematic code or metaphor for something valuable and rare. This suggested, with a chill of disappointment, that the treasure had already been removed, relocated, or even stolen by another, casting a heavy shadow of doubt over the worth of all his previous efforts and sacrifices. He pondered whether another determined hunter had come before him, beaten him to the prize, or if the message was nothing more than a clever trap designed to mislead and discourage future searchers like himself. His situation grew increasingly dire as time passed. No ships had visited the island for nearly a year, leaving him isolated and cut off from the outside world. His ammunition, crucial for both defense and hunting, was nearly depleted, and the struggle for survival became ever more grueling amid the island's harsh and unforgiving environment. The island, once teeming with signs of life, was now nearly deserted, except for his resilient wife, Mary, whose fierce loyalty and unwavering determination to stay by his side were nothing short of extraordinary. Despite the overwhelming odds, Gissler managed to repair his boat, crafting makeshift sails from old, tattered sheets, and vowed to return within weeks to secure much-needed supplies or find a passing ship to rescue them both. However, fate intervened in the form of a violent, relentless storm that blew him far off course, depositing him over 200 miles away in Panama, a place as foreign and challenging as the island itself. Left alone on the island, Mary's survival instincts kicked in. She resorted to trapping whatever wildlife she could find and likely subsisted on rats, enduring the brutal hardships of starvation, exposure to the elements, and the crushing weight of despair. When Gissler finally returned 6 months later, the toll of their ordeals was evident on both their faces and spirits, weathered, worn, and forever changed by the relentless struggle. In 1908, recognizing the perils of their isolated existence and longing for a safer, more stable life, they made the difficult decision to leave the island behind and seek refuge in the bustling, unpredictable city of New York, hoping to find some measure of peace and opportunity far from the dangers and desolation that had marked their town. Gissler spent 17 grueling years searching for buried pirates' treasure on the remote Cocos Island, yet only uncovered 33 gold coins minted between 1793 and 1799, scattered across various dig sites throughout the island's rugged terrain. These few ancient coins seemed to serve as a mystical anchor, almost as if they were enchanted relics, keeping him tied to the island with persistent whispers of hidden wealth just beneath the surface, urging him to keep digging despite the absence of any new evidence or promising leads. He was driven by an unshakable belief and an almost spiritual conviction that something valuable and historically significant lay buried beneath the island's harsh and unforgiving landscape, compelling him to devote all his energy, time, and incredible resourcefulness to the quest. His daily routine involved meticulous excavation, cataloging of finds, and constant strategizing about where to dig next, all while battling the island's unpredictable weather, treacherous terrain, and isolation from the outside world. He died quietly on August 8, 1935, at the age of 78, leaving behind a will that bequeathed half of Cocos Island, valued at approximately $200,000, a considerable fortune at the time, intended for his friends and relatives. However, when these heirs attempted to claim the inheritance, they faced a harsh legal reality. Since Gissler was appointed only a temporary governor and never held legal title to the island, he could not lawfully bequeath the land, rendering his will invalid in the eyes of the law. Yet, beyond the legal disputes, a more inspirational perspective views his life as a testament to human resilience, unwavering hope, and determination. Most visitors endure only a week or two of the island's grueling labor and harsh conditions before exhaustion and despair force them to leave. But Gissler's survival and continued work there for 17 years, year after year, demonstrate extraordinary endurance, steadfast commitment, and an indomitable spirit. His quest, marked by relentless passion, resilience, and an almost obsessive dedication, reveals an extraordinary man who refused to quit no matter the odds or hardships he faced throughout his life. Some contemporaries called him obsessed, certainly passionate and resourceful, but he was living his dream, and it's hard to fault that level of dedication and courage. His last written words capture this spirit perfectly. The treasure is on the island, but it will take money and effort to unearth it. I have gone through many hardships, and perhaps shall do so again, but this will not keep me away. These words resonate as a timeless reminder of the human capacity to pursue dreams against all odds.